Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Silver, Avian, Quiet, how you doing? Simon, hello. Time to update the stream's description. Yeah, you know, I'm not, I am not, I'm a charting guy. I'm not necessarily a SEO guy. But yeah, I was working on that. It actually just changed the title, as you can see. So what's the description for this one? The market. I'm thinking about you too, Trong. Thinking about you too. Funny coincidence. Hello, hello. Eric, Silver. Silver, you don't get to sleep. That's not how you make money. You don't get to sleep. I've been awake for 429 straight hours now. So I took a position in IOTA. Now, you said before you need to have a plan. What does that mean now? Well, you still have to have a plan, and goose state could be a bull trap. You never know. I still haven't really leveled into my positions. Let's go through a little bit of charting here. Kind of went with this dark thing. Doesn't look too bad. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin appears to be leading Ethereum, at least on this particular pop. Ethereum has been leading Bitcoin, but yeah, we're getting kind of an interesting dynamic here in the markets. So yeah, Bitcoin has some, this is some really nice volume here. I'm on the 15-minute. Let's go out to the 2-hour chart. So Bitcoin actually had a head and shoulders pattern. I didn't really talk about it that much. I did see it, but I can't tell you why I didn't emphasize it, but there's a head and shoulders pattern right here. At this point, it does look like it has been invalidated, although it could form another shoulder here and roll over, but you know, only time will tell. But even on this 2-hour chart, we have very nice volume popping. We broke this trend line here on that volume, which is phenomenal, and now we're kind of sitting up in this higher consolidation level. We've seen this a couple of times before. This time looks different, though. This time looks a little bit more bullish. We saw it a little bit over here, but notice it didn't get nearly as high, and you know, pulled right back instantaneously almost. Over here, we're pretty much sitting at highs. Now with Ethereum, they actually have an inverted head and shoulders pattern, which I have drawn here. This is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and here is your neckline. So this green dotted, this horizontal line, this is the actual price that we're at currently, and this angled green line is the neckline for this head and shoulders pattern. So if and when we cross this head and shoulders pattern, you want to see it happen on volume, and I would definitely get long on this. I would definitely get long on this. You do have a target implied of 334, 335 based on this head and shoulders pattern, and if we zoom out, it does happen to correlate somewhat with the head and shoulders pattern from the top in Ethereum right at about this 340 level. So you know, I mentioned a long time ago that if we curl up, we may get up to this level and fail. I'm not saying we're going to fail at this level. I'm simply saying that it looks like we're going higher from here, and we're going to come up and test these areas. But I would have a bullish lean on the market at this moment in time. I would switch from bearish to bullish, and I would start leaning in on positions if you want to be a long-term holder, which is fine. I say you're probably okay to do that. Now, if we do get reversed at some point, hopefully you guys know a little bit now what to look for, and you can kind of make decisions at that time frame. But of course, we'll be sitting on the market as well. NEO was killing it. They are. I completely missed NEO. I had a really good buddy of mine point it out, and I did not take that position. So let's check out what's going up here in the chat room. Breakout or bull trap? That right now, my friend, is the question, right? Answer that question, make money. So Augusta says bull trap. The one hard thing about calling it a bull trap is this, okay? So I have a bias since I've been doing most of my channel. The market has kind of been in a downtrend. I've had a bias to the downside, and you can see that all throughout the channel. It's starting to change as of really like yesterday and today. It's really starting to change. So I'm not saying you change your bias based on my biases, but I have to put my bias aside and listen to the market. So price is the thing that actually pays the bills, and when price moves up, look, you've got to put money at risk, and you have to actually, if you're going to trade, you have to be a trader and trade, okay? But you can only trade the signals on the market. You can't trade on your opinions. So like I said, I've changed my opinion. I'm now leaning more bullish, and I would really, if this neckline breaks on this Ethereum, I will probably be all in at this point. Selling your body for Bitcoin. Let me know where you do that. I wouldn't mind checking it out. Yosemite, you finally catch us live. Good for you. Frederick, what did you miss? Well, you missed a lot of sideways action and a couple of good little pops. So that's pretty much what you missed. Not much more than that at this moment in time. We just went over this inverted head and shoulders on Ethereum. If you guys follow my Twitter at Real Crypto Trade, I actually tweeted this out earlier. And someone mentioned, should they get long Ethereum? I said I would consider it, but you need to wait for the break of this inverted neckline on the inverted head and shoulders pattern. But let's look at these charts over here, guys. Most everything is green. Obviously there's a few holdouts in the red, but pretty much everything is green. As noted, NEO's doing fantastically. It looks like PTOY up 28%. They were up 17% last time I looked at this. We all know about Pay and their big Visa news. Pay was doing pretty good. They're not necessarily on a huge breakout move, unless that's changed. I just came back from lunch, so anything can happen. No, not really. We're down here at the bottom. We have AMP at 10%. Elastic, that's what that's up 10%. Token 17%. PTOY 20%. So PTOY is an interesting coin. Let's look at that one. Oh, that looks very nice. That looks very nice. Yeah, I completely missed that one. That would have been a nice buy down in this area. Just wait for consolidation. The volume here is very good on PTOY. Looks like they're putting money to work in the altcoins quite heavily. So NAV has been one that's been talked about a lot. Price action not so good though. Price action not so hot. Rise is one that's been talked about. Price action a little mediocre there. Not much happening there. Didn't mean to tap on that on GeoCoin, but I did apparently. Music coins, look at PTOY. I think we just did. This is PTOY against the dollar, looking much stronger than against Bitcoin. The one previously must have been against Bitcoin. But we have quite a bit of volume in here, which is really nice for PTOY. PTOY is not a joke coin in my opinion. They actually do have some decent fundamentals, user cases, and they're doing some things to make themselves actually useful. So Trig not doing much. ADX. Now let's look at ADX. This looks like it could be a little interesting. Looks like we have kind of a mini cup with handle, kind of a cup with handle type of a pattern forming here. If you're into these smaller coins, let's do this. Yeah, so we have a higher low in place. Looks like we have resistance here at, what is that, 65 cents? This is against the dollar. So a nice break of 65 on volume could be good for a nice trade there. Looks like Komodo, and I know a lot of people looking at Komodo. Looks like it had kind of a head and shoulders, or I'm sorry, cup with handle. Not really though. Let's go metal. I know a lot of people have been looking at metal. Kind of rounding up. Yeah, a lot of coins showing the same thing here. Nothing super strong here, but it looks like the selling has definitely subsided. We don't see coins pointing downward. They're starting to point upward. If you remember, I was talking about why you're investing in a coin that points down. You don't invest in the coin here. You invest in the coin. You can invest in it here. You can invest in it here. And then as we get higher, it's getting you're getting possibly to a breakout level. Not in that specific coin, just thinking generally. Let's look over here. Where was NEO? I just had NEO. There it is. NEO 26%. This thing doesn't seem to be selling off much from this level. NEO is a leading coin, and although the China ICO, the ICO ban, and the exchange, the closing of the exchanges has kind of run its course now, I feel like NEO could be good for a pretty good run. So if we eventually get back to all-time highs for you hodlers, that's about 125%, but you definitely have a short-term possibility in the cards for 12% to these lows, and then this high here at about 35%. So even from this level, 35%. So not too bad, not too bad. But we are a little extended. You do have to give this one some room at this point in time. Omisego, $10 even. $10 even. This one just kind of, still consolidating that move from the 2,500% run up since its ICO, and seeing some good volume here. We could go up. You want to look for a nice pattern for entry. I kind of got in down here off this pattern. It's a little high. If you get in here, you have the risk of being shaken out. So I'm up like 7%. So you have the risk of being shaken out if this thing drops. A lot of people don't want to hold losses that long. So if you get in really high from a breakout point, you're more likely to be shaken out. So IOTA broke this declining trend line here, which is pretty nice. In theory, you could draw it up here if you want to be very conservative with this trend line. You could draw it right here. And it's been a large gap, but it looks like we may come up and test it. We're still holding over that 50-cent line, which is a big psychological barrier. It was chopped around a lot, so we're living above it, so that's good. We have some higher lows in place. That's good as well. Overall, a lot of good action. Litecoin's looking really good. Actually really like this Litecoin chart. It had the big pop off of the lows on this massive. This is volume all the way up here in the middle of this chart. This is volume all the way up here. Let's see if I can, come on, see if I can show you guys that. Oh, that's not volume. It is big volume, it just wasn't that big. So, but still, look at that huge volume there. We bounced off the lows here, kind of went sideways, and now we're curling up. So this is looking pretty healthy here. Good volume, not much volume on the sell back or on the pullback. Overall, looking really good. Let's check out the chat. Internet of People holding up. Last time I checked, it was down quite significantly. I took my profits up pretty high. Got out that one with a pretty nice profit. And Internet of People. Oh, how did I take it off my list? Yeah, so I got out of it up here actually. Looks like it's pulled all the way back down to this breakout level. So it's resting for now. Definitely keep your eyes on it though. Definitely keep your eyes on Internet of People. IOP entry, is that done for now? I sold around 118 last night. Yeah, I think it's done for now. I think IOP's done. I think it's done. Now it could go sideways. I mean, obviously it can move around, right? But I don't think we're going to get these. I don't think we're going to get these runs up here. I think we're going to need some consolidation at this point in time. We came up, we tested these highs up here, and then we pulled back. The volume is still very light though. So like I said, you got to keep it on your radar. You want to see volume interest again before you get back in. And if you want to trade this, I would trade it quickly. We've already had 2 huge runs in IOP, and you may not get a third. So at least not for some time, maybe a couple of weeks. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Well, I can cover VTC real quick. I have a major position in Litecoin. I'm starting to feel a little better, Augusta. Yeah, it's looking pretty good here. Have I already taken some long positions? I have taken some long positions, but not with my core account. I will wait for that Ethereum head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders to be broken to the upside probably before I really put my core account to work. Looks like we are poking up here a little bit on Ethereum, but I really want this level to be taken out. I want this. This is a pretty good inverted head and shoulders, and I'm really just looking for this neckline to break. That's really my signal. I mean, I've traded a little bit in and out here, but I'm just not comfortable holding this. Keep in mind, guys, we still really, even though we've broken a few levels, and that's why I say it's okay to trade. For me personally, now everyone's risk tolerance is different, and I don't like being sold into out of the blue. So, I mean, I will wait for this to break before I get in pretty heavy. Someone did mention VTC. I've got them down here. Let's look at, we need to look at pay as well. Come on, VTC. I know you're here somewhere. Nope, maybe not. It's Vertcoin, right? Yeah, Vertcoin. All right, let's look at Vertcoin. Not doing a whole lot. Yeah, I'm not too impressed with Vertcoin. It's not doing much. There's other coins that are behaving much better. I mean, like I said, if you take the longer term view of it, it's, you know, it's living below this trend line. As long as it lives below this trend line, it's an avoid in my book. Yeah, Litecoin will be fine in the long run. I agree. It's a good coin. Kabichi, how you doing, buddy? EBST at Bittrex is about to pop. People have been hyping that the past couple of days. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Up 7%. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Looks like, let's go down to the 15 minute, see if we can get enough perspective on the 15 minute to be helpful. Okay, not too bad. Let's draw some trend lines and check this guy out. So we're gonna, so pretty clear trend line right here. Looks like it's been broken already. So that is good. We have higher lows. That is good. We have nice curling action. That is good. Some decent volume pops up here, so that's pretty good. I'd say your natural stop here would be at the 17.6 level, somewhere around here, depending on. So your risk here would be, well, now it's popped up, so your risk is a little higher. So yeah, 5% risk potentially. I'm not mad at 5% back to this breakout point. I wouldn't be mad at 5%. And then your upside is 10%, so 2-to-1 risk reward on this one. Not too bad, not too bad. Does look pretty good. We have kind of a nice cupish action, bit of a handle. We're just popping out of that. I would like to see volume increase. Maybe we'll get an increase as we pop up. This would be another buy area. This would be a buy area. So not looking too bad. Not looking too bad. I did go through Neo. Neo is blasting off here. We kind of missed that one. Bitcoin summary. We can do Bitcoin again. I know people how to do a stop limit on Bitfinex. I actually can't. I haven't done that. Maybe I'll do a I'll check that out later. Maybe I'll post a video on that. Do I have any long-term holdings, or do I only trade this market? So I do have long-term holdings. They're still sitting in cash at the moment, though. I still haven't fully committed to the long side with my core account. It's still sitting in cash at this moment in time. Like I've been saying, I'm kind of waiting for Ethereum to break this cup with this inverted head and shoulders pattern here. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. It's a bit of an inverted head and shoulders pattern here, and I've been kind of waiting for it to break this neckline. I did buy a little bit last night, but then I didn't feel comfortable holding it overnight, so I got out, and I did miss out on, looks like $5 worth of gain. I was in at about 290 or so, and then started chopping around and going lower, and I didn't feel comfortable holding overnight, so I did let it go. So I'm willing to pay up for safety. That's just kind of how I feel. I don't want to be stuck through something like this still. So if I get in on this, if I got in over here or bought it up here and it goes up and then it comes to a prior resistance level, I don't want to be caught with my pants down. I don't want to get sold into and be underwater like that. So I really try to look for chart patterns or support levels to be broken before I will put heavy money to work. So that being said, I did take a position in Omisego last night, kind of in the 9-ish area, kind of down like right about here, I believe is where I took it, maybe 940, 950, so I'm up a little bit there. I did take a position in pay. Here's pay. I did take a position in pay right about here, so I'm up a little bit in pay. What's that, like 8%? Not bad. So I'm up a little bit in pay. That's good. And those are pretty much the two that I have right now. I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, Mark, Omisego, there is no pattern it can't be measured with. And, you know, I've been saying that, and you were 100% correct. So they had a 2,500% run-up. They got a 2,500% run-up in Omisego, and they have yet to really consolidate that. And it looks like we're in the middle of that consolidation right now. Let's go out to the 2-hour chart. So, I mean, look at this, guys. This is just a phenomenal run. Go from 48 cents up here to $13, 2,700%. So a really massive run, and it's just started to consolidate with these really large swings, right? So it just started to consolidate. This came back about 50%. And I did a video last night, I think, where I said that Omisego around $9 is a pretty good risk reward because you have a natural barrier down here at $8. And so I actually followed my own advice that time and took a bit of a position. It wasn't a huge position, but I took a bit of a position in it. And, you know, I'm just planning on, you know, hodling it for a little bit. Like I said, the $8 area is going to be my stop loss point, but I'm just going to give it some room. I mean, it can chop its way up into this $10, $11, $12 area. I mean, really no problems. Omisego is a quality coin. If the market gets really bullish, this could be one that benefits just because it is one of the more fundamentally solid answers in the blockchain these days. So when you convert to cash, will you be longing just Ethereum, or are you going to be splitting it between Bitcoin? I've actually been thinking about that myself, and I don't have a definitive answer for that yet. You know, I'll be honest with you. I tell you guys to have a plan, and you should. That's not my strong suit. I can write plans down and I throw them out the window. That's just kind of how I am personally. But I do not want you guys to trade like me in terms of that part of the process. You need to be able to read the charts. You need to be able to ascertain strength and weakness. But everybody trades differently. So while I'll have no problem explaining how I do things in my opinion, I definitely suggest you read charts like me. I don't suggest that you trade my way because it suits my personality and may not suit yours. Looked at Neo yet? We can look at Neo again. So Frederick, yeah, if you don't know what to do right now, that's perfectly fine. But the thing to note, the market is telling you something. The market is telling you something. Put your emotions, your fear aside. What is the market telling you right here? What is the market telling you? What it's telling me is that we recently just broke out of this trend line. So we're basically, at this point, we're testing a bull market, okay? We're testing a bull market. So if you want to be part of that test and get in a little bit early, you do have more risk due to the fact that because we're testing a bull market, it could get sold into. But we do have really good volume on some of these coins, and the price is moving higher. So if you want to be involved with higher prices, you have to put something at risk. Like I said, you can trade with smaller positions, like I did, right? I put on 2 positions for probably a total of 30 to 40% of my trading account, and so I'm testing the waters in that way. You can do the same thing if you don't want to deal with altcoins and you want to deal with Ethereum and Bitcoin and maybe Ripple, Litecoin, things like that. You can do the same thing. You can look for levels to be broken. You can look for accumulation patterns and start to put money. You can start to put money to work in that fashion. I mean, yeah. So like Litecoin here to me looks pretty constructive. Looks pretty constructive, right? Like we have this very nice pop on volume. We've had a few volume pops in Litecoin since this low was made. 1, 2, now 3 after a low volume period here. We're drifting higher and then we pop up. That's very good action. That's very good action. So that being said, could it fail at any time? Of course. Of course it could fail at any time. But that's, you trade or you don't. Okay? You trade or you don't. That's the job. Yeah, you can take a partial position in Litecoin. And if you want to give it down to this 47.50, kind of this low, because what you want to see in an uptrend, you don't want to see prior lows taken out. So yeah, let's just say for instance, you took a position on Litecoin in this area, right? Let's say you took a position in Litecoin right here. Okay, we popped up, we came down, we tested this low, but we never broke it, so that's fine. That's still a valid position. You probably shouldn't have been shaken out down here unless you're forecasting, which is very dangerous. You don't want to forecast the market. You want to let the market do what it's going to do, and you just want to listen. So then we float back up. Take this trend line out of the mix. Just talking highs and lows, right? So then we chop around on low volume. We're kind of pointing downward, so I wouldn't be feeling too good. And then boom, we break this low right here, and then we go lower on pretty significant volume. So this is where you would be selling out over here, probably down this bar. You never quite sell right at there. You want to see it break, and then you want to see it continue to stay down. So it came up and failed to stay above this level and went down again. Now the market had a bit of a change in behavior, and now we're starting to go up. So now we have a low here we don't want to be broken, and a low here we don't want to be broken. So you need to pick one of these levels. You need to pick one of these levels just as a natural barrier. So this would give you a 10%, 10.5% stop loss at this point, which is a little more than I'd like to give it, down to 14% stop loss. That's more than I would like to give this coin. I mean, if you wanted to, you could maybe take it down to this level, at this maybe 49.60 level. This would give you about a 5% stop loss. So, at this point, you can test this bar, so you can get down here to 49.60. There's a couple places you can try to ascertain strength and weakness, or you can wait. You can wait for this bar to pull back because it has already pulled back to this 51.50 a couple of times, and maybe you get in at 51.50 and limit your risk down to about 8.5% loss, which is a lot more manageable than 10%. So there's a number of ways to trade it. You can also take a portion of your small position and get in here, and if it gets lower, you can get in. I mean, there's a lot of ways to play this. A lot of ways to play this. So looks like Ethereum closed out its last 2-hour bar. Now we're just kind of sitting here and just kind of drifting higher, you know. That's not bad. Looks like we've got about not even 1%, so 0.72% to the before that line is broken. You've got a trend line here that's going to kind of hold. So this trend line needs to hold, at least in the shorter term. This is a short-term trend line, so it needs to hold in the short term. This is Ethereum we're looking at here, if you're not familiar. Anyway, back to the chat room. I looked at NEO. We'll look at it again. I've been asked a couple of times. Yeah, Frederick, 10% is a lot. You just kind of have to, you know, if you're not willing to get in early, it can be difficult to take some of these stop losses. So Mackenzie, which is better for accurate charting, Bitcoin or USD? You know what? I've come to the realization that you have to look at both and you have to see which one is trending better. So if the Bitcoin seems to be trending a lot better than the US dollar chart, then use that chart. If the US dollar chart is trending better than the Bitcoin chart, you have to use that one. Each coin behaves a little bit differently, so you kind of have to cater your charts to what the market is looking at. Whoa, didn't mean to do that. Okay. So Frederick, here's what I'll say if you don't want to take on too much risk. You're down 17%. I understand that. You don't want to take on risk. I definitely understand that. What you need to do then, and this is the only thing you need to do, if you kind of have a fear of missing out, if you're feeling kind of, you know, you want to get in but you're not sure, the only thing you can do is look for very high quality setups, and watch them like a hawk, because this is a 24/7 market. I mean, this is a 24/7 market. It's very tough. Sometimes you basically have a 2/3 chance to miss a move in this market, and it can be brutal. It can be tough. I mean, you know, Pay last night moved at like 10:30 my time. I was watching a show and I had the screen up far across the room and I had an alert set and it moved and I went ahead and picked it up. But if that had happened 2 hours later, I definitely wouldn't have been able to pick that up and I would have missed the boat. And then I would have a, you know, like, okay, what do I do here? You know, how do I handle this? So, so Monero has yet to break out. Not a super high quality setup, but you know, it's not bad. You pretty much have limited risk in Monero at this point. I mean, it was like 3%, 2.5% back down to this little breakout area that it came out of. Volume was a little benign. Let's try to look for some high quality setups for you guys that maybe you want to get some trades and get some money back. So keep in mind too, Frederick, you can get 17% back fairly quickly if you're in a good coin. A bunch of people asked about NEO. Let's go ahead and look at NEO. A bunch of people asked about NEO. So let me zoom in here on NEO. So NEO actually had kind of a cup with handle pattern here. I'm against Tether. Let's check out NEO Bitcoin. Let's look at NEO Bitcoin. I think that chart showed more of a double bottom. Yeah, this one showed the double bottom. Kind of a double bottom chart here on NEO. Yeah, not my favorite chart, but you see how this was tightening up right here and it started to curl upwards. I mean, that is very nice action. That's really, really nice action. You usually don't get this kind of movement in a coin unless it has a lot of strength into it. And since then, it's jumped about 15%, right? So, and good volume. I mean, NEO is pretty good here. I mean, it still has a lot of upward potential in it. You have a 15% to that high. You have looks like a natural barrier here at 85 at a 32% increase. And if you get really bullish, maybe you get back up towards these highs at about 65% increase. So, you know, NEO is looking pretty good. NEO is looking pretty good, I do have to say. You're 6% up from the breakout of this particular level. So it's a little extended, but you could take a position in NEO. It's really hard to do this in the middle of these runs, guys. I mean, especially with these live videos, because I know you guys are looking to get into something, but Yeah, it's really difficult because we're in the middle of these moves, and I can't stream exactly when these things are popping. And not to mention, I may not even be looking at it exactly when these things are popping. So you bought a Neos yesterday at 20. There you go. Yeah, wherever 20 is. Let's look at it. Neo. There you go. It's up. All right, so you're up 25%. Yeah, there you go. Neo at 20. So that's what, you know, when you're keeping an eye on these charts, that's a great entry right there. That's a really great entry. You have volume popping up above average, coming out of a consolidation in a, you know, after a run up. So this is pretty healthy movement right here. You know, pretty healthy movement. Now we could get a consolidation up here, kind of like we did in pay after its big run up. So we could get a consolidation. So you can wait for that. You can wait for that. But really the best thing you guys can do is look for high quality setups. So what I advocate doing is actually, if you want to keep like a trading diary, whether it be online or a physical book, you can go ahead and write down like all the coins you're interested in, all the top coins, the coins that have liquidity, the coins that, you know, are just good quality coins, and you can, you know, just go through the chart one by one and just try to ascertain, okay, this is a good level of resistance. So when this thing gets broken, you know, what am I going to do? Like Ethereum, like I've told you guys time and time again, I'm waiting for this inverse head and shoulders to break out on volume, and then I will get in it. Now I probably won't get in until like 300. You know, and granted, I had it last night at 290, but I didn't feel comfortable holding it overnight. So I'm going to pay that $10. That's a bit of insurance that I'm going to pay for a little bit of peace of mind. Now, not to say it can't completely roll over, because sometimes when things break out, that's when other people look to sell. So there's a risk there as well. But I just feel a little more comfortable doing that personally. That's just something I feel comfortable with. So versus PLS mentioned, he bought at 20 in Neo, which is great because he didn't want to miss out on the pop. So there's two dynamics, right? There's the fear of missing out of the pop, and there's the fear of losing money in a drop. And both are valid mindsets. Both trade a little bit differently. You just have to figure out the kind of person that you are. And then you know what you can do too, and something I've done in the past, I haven't done it recently though, not in cryptos, I've done it in stocks before, is I would actually, if I had a feeling that this was looking really good, I didn't want to miss out, I would take a small position, kind of with my logical mind screaming that I want to buy, but you know, the fear side of my personality saying, hey, I don't want to be caught up with a loss. I would actually counter trade my own emotions, and you can do that too. And if your emotions are screaming one way and you trade great in the opposite direction, hey, you know what? That's a trading strategy, and I'm not mad at that either. I've done a little bit of that. Younger version of Steve Cohen. I usually get Dr. Evil because I have a bald head, guys. I usually get Dr. Evil, and I get what's the other one? What's the other one? I forget. When you look for volume, it's moving too fast. So that's the thing with trying to catch breakouts, Aviad, is that you want to look. So let's look at Neo here. So because this is a recent breakout. So you want to look for the price action. You want to look for the consolidation. You want to look for the slim volume coming in. And it can take a lot of waiting and a lot of watching. But you know, you have alerts. There's, you know, Coinigy has a really good alert system that will send you a text message. There's actually a link to Coinigy in my description if you don't have that. But Coinigy, you can set up alerts, and it will actually send you a text message when those alerts are broken. So that can be pretty nice. That can be really nice. And I used that a lot yesterday. That's how I got in my IOP position. That's how I got in my pay position. So, you know, that can pay for itself a number of times over. Especially if you're actively trading, look at different coins and different time frames. So, you know, you could have, if you were looking at Neo here, and okay, I have a higher low. I have, you know, declining volume is kind of setting up here. You know, boom, you set an alert, you get in on it, maybe you buy it, maybe you end up buying it up here at 21, but it still continues upwards. Okay, so you don't have to look for this large peak volume right here. It's good in hindsight to say it has good volume, but you're right. On the right side of the chart in real time, what is good volume? So there's good volume plus price action. That's another thing that I say price action a lot, but what does that actually mean? So price action means that, like, look at these two bars right here. So these two bars, they had volume pretty early because otherwise they wouldn't have closed up this high. This has about 4 times the volume as the previous bar. So you would have noticed early volume. You would have noticed that about, so I'm at a 2-hour chart. Let's say 30 minutes into this bar, it started breaking out. You'd have noticed volume was already equal with the prior bar. So at that point, you're like, okay, and this is how you know right here. This is how you know how much time is left in the bar. So you say, okay, there's an hour and 42 minutes left. This bar already has the same amount of volume as the previous bar. So now I know that it's relatively relative to the previous bar, it has excellent volume. So okay, maybe I'll take a position. Then you can notice that yes, it's hitting the ask several times. You know, it's hitting the ask every time. You can look at those order books if you trade off order books. You can look at those order books and say, okay, I see a lot of demand. So you're never going to get it right at the breakout point, but you don't want to pay up too high. So like you could pay all the way up. Like this is 5% from that particular breakout point, from that really good entry. And you're not going to get that unless you have an alert set, and you're not going to get that if you don't have the confidence in your reading of the volume in real time and your reading of the actual price action. Is it continuously going upward, or is it getting sold into? Is it doing choppy action like this? Okay, so there's a few things that need to be worked out before you can definitively say buy. Another thing you can do too is look at how the rest of the market's doing. Is the rest of the market moving with you, or are you alone by yourself? So there's quite a few things to take into consideration when you're trying to catch a breakout. Carnegie is a bit buggy. You know what? I did notice a bug with them last night. They had a bug last night. It looks like they're still doing some development, but so far it's been like I've tried some of the apps and doing alerts on the apps, and those never work out. Blockfolio's okay, but I hate the interface with Blockfolio. You know, for $100 for 6 months on Carnegie, you know what? I don't mind paying that. They have a lot of integrations. So I mean, overall, I think it's one of the best choices at this particular time. That's just my personal opinion, though. So DCR Bitcoin looking good. Seems to be pushing up slowly over the last month with good volume pattern. Yeah, DCR actually, a buddy of mine was trading that with a cup with a handle pattern, and it didn't quite work out. I looked at it this morning. You know, isn't working out quite the way that was expected. It did have a nice explosion to the upside, but it failed immediately. But we do have some nice volume. It has some nice volume patterns in it. Yeah, so slowly moving upward here on the 2-hour chart. That's fine. I'm trying to find like better price action. Yeah, so we're still really choppy. I mean, we're still really choppy here in DCR. Don't get me wrong. This is excellent. This nice volume area here is very good. This is very good. Then you have some more volume here at these highs. So volume at the highs usually means distribution, but we're still wedging higher into here. So the sellers could be exhausting themselves. And if you get like a really good, kind of like we just saw with Neo, right? It didn't look like much of a chart pattern with Neo. Didn't look like much of a chart pattern, but boom, we had a 20% pop. Reason being is because the sellers were exhausted. The sellers exhausted themselves. I mean, you know, we talked about last night in the, you know, is China gone? Because all the China sellers looks like they all left. So those guys left, and now we're just left with the rest of the world or the China guys trading in Japan. And yeah, so they're starting to take their positions again, which could be causing this little rally here. Who knows? Anyway, got way off topic there. But yeah, so this looks pretty good. Some nice volume. We're not getting a lot of upward movement, though. With this kind of volume, you'd think you'd have a run, and you didn't get a run. So that seems suspicious of some overt selling to me. So pay at this moment is pulling back after a little bit of a run. It is a very healthy consolidation in pay. Yeah, it's just pulling back a little bit. What are those little circles on the chart? I see toggle on and off sometimes, change in direction. I'm not sure what you mean, Chris. On my charts, or there's something on your charts? Avia, that's funny. Halloween costume is a t-shirt with the Bitcoin graph going to 1200. Could be a little scary. NXC. Let's look at NXC. Nexium. Sounds like a antacid. Sounds like an antacid. Good volume up here. A lot of volume at this top though, so I'm not liking that action so much. Let's go out to the 4-hour. Yeah, a lot of volume here. I don't know if that's due to because they issued more coins, because look here, there's like no volume back over here. I'm not sure if they issued more coins or if this actually is getting actively traded more in some way, shape, or form. Coming back to old highs is always a good thing. You have this really, wherever the top is in this, it's kind of all over the place. You've got it up here at 51, you've got here. So there's lots of highs up here. Not a very well shaped, I mean, there's a lot of better patterns in the market. If you're going to trade patterns, if you're going to trade technicals, trade the best. Trade clean signals. Trade goodness, you know. Oh, is this Doge? That's why it's up 16% because it's... Is this Doge? XDG? I think it's Doge. Yeah. Let me take this off of here. XDG. Is that Doge? ZEC looks good. Let's take a look at ZEC. Navcoin. Oh, Zcash. So Zcash, nice double bottom here. Very nice double bottom. I would have liked to get it lower. Of course, everything here you want to get a little bit lower. Actually, I think we were looking at Zcash yesterday. Was this yesterday? What is this? 9/22. This was 3 days ago. We were looking at Zcash up here and it was being very choppy. And then now we have a little bit of a run here with some pretty good volume in Zcash. A little bit of a doji candle right there. If you're not familiar with a doji candle, see how it opens and closes in the middle of the bar. Open, closes in the middle. That's a doji candle. That indicates a pause. It may or may not oblige that doji candle though. We're only 30 minutes into this bar, so not a lot of volume. Yeah, not too shabby. Not too shabby. It seems to behave pretty well. It seems to behave itself pretty well. Did fail this breakout, but that's fine. And then now we're kind of curling back up. Yeah, okay. Lisk has always looked good. Let's look at Lisk. Last time I looked at Lisk, it still was doing what it's always done, which is making you want to get into it, but never quite, you know, giving you the wink to actually take the position. So, yeah, kind of still much about the same there. If you want to get in Lisk here, I think Lisk seems to have a lot of support, at least with the traders. I'm not sure technically, although I know it is written with JavaScript. If you're not familiar with Lisk, it is a platform coin, and its main benefit is it's written with JavaScript. And there's so many people learning JavaScript right now that, I mean, in 3 to 5 years, I could actually see Lisk without knowing any of the technicals behind it. I mean, literally, with not knowing any technology, just based on the fact it's written in JavaScript and the amount of support that I've seen around it, I could see it becoming the second platform behind Ethereum. So I could see that happening just based on the fact it's written in JavaScript. But that's a bit of a bias because I know the JavaScript and the language and how easy it is to actually do something. So a little bit of bias there. At the same time, can anyone be mad at this price action? I don't think you can be mad at this price action at all. You can say, yeah, it had this big sell-off, but this was when everything else was selling off too, so you have to give it a little bit of slack there. But when everything was going haywire, it was sitting nice and tight up here, and then it finally cracked at the last minute when Bitcoin went to 3,000, and then it's been coming back up into its high consolidation. So Lisk could be one of those coins, and it's already had a pretty big run, right? It already came all the way back down here from 23 cents up to $7. We could see something from $7 to 70 over the course of a time frame, whatever that is, 6 months, a year, year and a half. So I think fundamentally Lisk is a good coin, and its price action is very healthy too. But it's just for general trading purposes right now. Right now I just want my computer to work right. There we go. As far as general trading purposes, we're a little light on volume. In Lisk, and yeah, I mean, it still has to get over this little hump. It's stuck at this hump right here at the 615, 620 level. So if you did want to get in Lisk, you've got a little bit of a upward declining or upward trend line here. So, you know, I'll touch on pay in a minute, Frederick. I did Litecoin, Miguel. Litecoin looks pretty good here. I think it's very healthy action. Lisk go up 120% in the past few weeks. Yeah, but that's from those really deep lows in Lisk. I mean, that's really from these deep lows. That's only 50%. So, well, I guess you said weeks. So does that mean going back over to here? Yeah. Yeah, but it's in the consolidation right now, so you kind of have to live with where it is now, not what it's done in the past. You can look to the past as a roadmap. You can say to yourself, yeah, Lisk can make huge moves, and that's perfectly valid. At the same time, you have to deal with the consolidation that we're in currently. I know someone mentioned Litecoin. Sorry, Frederick, you mentioned pay. That's what you mentioned. Let's look at pay. Did I already pass? There it is. I passed pay. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Look at all that green in pay, man. This is just looking really nice. At the same time, look at all this green that got sold into. So we'll just have to see in pay. Like I said, I got my position. I took it kind of down there-ish. I'm up a little bit in pay, but pretty good volume right here. Nice accumulation. It looks pretty decent. If you want to get in pay here, I would say you're probably okay to do that. Your stop is pretty low at this point, so you know, maybe you just hodl pay for a little bit, unless the market, look, if the market completely cracks on us and Bitcoin takes a 10% dive and Ethereum does in kind, then yeah, like, so say Bitcoin, say we get up and we pop up and say we just take a brutal crack down below here. That could be really hard for the market. You could almost get out everything at that point, and that may be what ends up happening. But you got to take some risks in some positions, otherwise you're not going to make any money. And if we've missed all these moves, guys. We were asleep. Some of us were scared to take some positions. Others of us have just been waiting. And yeah, you just got to get in at some point. You have to pick a spot that looks comfortable, and just have to get in the game, and then you can add as you get more comfortable. We'll look at Litecoin again, Miguel. Taking a position in pay right now. We can look at that real quick. Yeah, so what I would do, Frederick, is I would look through the chart, see what your favorite chart at this moment is, see if it's really extended, see if it has a lot of volume, kind of see where look at the good and the bad aspects of it. So here's a 15-minute on pay. It's kind of churning up here towards these highs of this move. And we're getting some pretty big volume up here. How does that relate to over here? So a bit choppy over here, then it flattened out. Yeah, I'm not a super big fan of it up here. It looks like it's going to consolidate again, but I could be completely wrong about that. There's just a lot of red volume pops up here at these highs. Like, see this big volume pop? They sold into that one. They sold into... Oh, that one's at the low. This one. So this high. Yeah, so it's not looking too bad. It continually... So completely broke out of this one. Completely broke out of this one. You're also in a bit of a channel. See, it's hard to predict these. It's hard to do this kind of analysis because... when you're kind of up here when you're up higher, there's obviously more risk, and your obvious stops are so far behind you that it's hard to really give you excellent advice and say buy here and sell here. That's so difficult, guys. That's so difficult. So you're in a bit of a channel here. You could go anywhere within this range. It is going up, which is good. So you have higher highs and higher lows, which is excellent. So maybe wait till it pops down, then maybe you take a position, and then maybe you get out if it goes down below this low of 7%. So 7%, you know, not too crazy. IOTA's popping. Is ETH popping? No, ETH is getting up there. ETH is getting up there. You said IOTA's popping. Litecoin moving up a little bit. IOTA moving up a little bit. Ethereum moving up. Bitcoin. Looks like Bitcoin's leading the pops here, guys. So Ethereum just kind of grinding higher, looking really good, getting to this level up here. Maybe I'll have to, okay, let me be a little bit more, see what's going on here. Go down to this 1 minute, see where if we got some volume. Nice volume right there on the 1 minute, popping right into those highs. Volume's a little light. I'd like to see volume like this because we're right here at this neckline. We're right here at this neckline while we're seeing, you know, so look, you take what you can get. If you're looking for volume and you see something like this, even if it's not like this, you know, you just take it for what it is, and it's a volume pop. So, you know, is Pay doing something similar? So IOTA's popping. Let me do this, guys. Let me pull this out so I can kind of see what you guys are saying. Because you guys, you know, we all have eyes all over the place, right? So oh, how did the GDAX pull up all of a sudden? I'm looking at come on computer. Let's go to Ethereum. I want to see what you guys are chatting about. There we go. So yeah, when we get to these areas, when we get to these resistance areas, these support areas, there's always a chance that you get sold into. There's always a chance. So when you place this trade, you have to understand. That, right? There's no way to avoid that. People use these high levels where people are interested, and then people try to jump in early, and they'll use it to sell into. So you can see it here, you can see it here, you can see it here, you can see it here. That's why you have to wait for it to pop out of the trend line, because otherwise, if you try to anticipate, you're going to be sitting here with a potential paper loss, and maybe it never breaks out. Maybe it crashes immediately. It's hard to tell. Need a hand? You got that? All right, cool. Nice with the 10-foot ceilings, huh? All right. Let's look at Litecoin, looking at the minute chart. Very light selling. Some selling, but very light selling. Looking at Ripple. Yeah, guys, I can see you in the chat room if you guys want to pop in there. I'll probably stick with this format for a while. I like this. Doge is a dog. That is correct. That's a very good statement, James. Pretty much is a dog. Ooh, XMR looking interesting here. Let's back out to the 15-minute. Got Dash Ethereum Classics. Check out Omise Go. Got another one? What up, buddy? Neo going 28%. Yep, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, everything's moving in unison, guys. There's some volume happening, things are being put to work. So you're basically looking at a live chat room, guys. Live trading chat room here in Real Crypto. So it's popping because there's nobody selling, that's why. So they're hitting lots of bids. I don't know, is Internet of People moving? See, the thing about Internet of People is it can form extremely nice bases. That's why I like Internet of People, but yeah, you know, Fraser, don't get stuck on a particular coin, buddy. You know, you gotta treat them like you're a single man, you know, playing the field. You can't be stuck on the coins here. But Internet of People, not looking too bad, but there's really not a base to come out of. I mean, if you're gonna buy something down here, you want to buy it at lows with volume, kind of like. I'm trying to see if there's anywhere to even do that here. I actually thought about buying Internet of People right here. I thought about it. I didn't do it though. So spike low, spike higher. Maybe you get it up here. Yeah, it's moving. It's definitely moving to the upside. Let's go to the 1 minute. Some good volume there, but so some good buying volume. Selling volume is low, so that's good. That bodes well for the cone. What's up, David? All right. Be selfish and look at some Ethereum. So far we're selling off from those highs from the neckline there. Not really aggressive volume, although it is some volume. It's some volume. EOS. Let's look at EOS, my only long-term holding position, just because I don't want to sell something that's worth $30. Where's EOS? Come on, there it is. I'm in the, oh man, the minute chart sometimes just gives me seizures. There's just so much chop. Yeah, so EOS, you know, still not doing anything. We still have the year-long ICO and EOS to deal with. Maybe 8-10 months left, something like that. Not doing much here. I still wouldn't touch EOS. Long-term 30 for EOS? I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to tell. I mean, what's the all-time high in EOS? I'm not even sure. Looks like $5 in EOS. So, yeah, you've got a 10 bagger in EOS if it gets down, you know, back to ICO highs. But it's just sitting down here at these lows. If you want to take a really long-term position, here, I would make it like 2% of your account. How am I purchasing, trading, pay, Neo, IOP? Me personally, through is it Bittrex? Through Bittrex, that's how I'm trading it, through Bittrex. If that, I don't know if that answered your question or not, but that's how I'm buying it. Is I'm buying it through Bittrex. So Neo's moving fast. That's right, Miguel. That's why it's called Real Crypto. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. Hey, you know, I'm just a trader that I see an opportunity in the cryptocurrency space, and yeah, so I'm trading it. What car do I drive? Dillman, getting personal with the questions, Dillman. I have two cars. I have a 2002 Honda Accord and I have a 2013 Toyota Sienna. Both are paid off. And that's the key right there, guys. Both are paid off. If you want to, let me tell you the secret to getting rich. Can I tell you the secret to getting rich right now? This is not even a joke. I'm not even joking with you right now. If you want to make money, keep that money, and grow your money, don't have a car payment. That is a real crypto life living tip that I have to struggle with my fiance with on about a every 6 month basis, is to not have a car payment. So those are my cars, and they're paid off, which is more important than what I drive. Yeah. So I've got the Sienna for the kids, and for the convenience features the fiance wanted. And in 2013, so it should last a while. And the 2002 Accord I bought for $3,200 in pretty freaking good shape with a ton of miles. Have had to do a bunch of work to it, but I do it myself, so again, save money there. And yeah, paid off car. There you go. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. No, David. No. No interest rate. No payments. 0 payments. 0 payments. Interest rate be damned. The less debt you have, the better. The problem you have with cars, if you haven't thought of it in these terms before, is you are essentially, a car is basically the second most expensive thing you'll ever purchase in your life. The first thing being your house. Now, if you're lucky enough to be in an appreciating housing market, then you're going to gain value with that house. However, if you have 2 cars that you have very good interest payments on, and they're both $25,000, you have $50,000 worth of car sitting in your driveway that you're paying interest on, depreciating. So if by the time you go to sell those two $50,000 cars and you use them quite well, you are going to depreciate those assets by about 90%, by 80 to 90%. In the number of 5 or 6 years. So you are literally driving your money into the ground. That's literally what you're doing. And this coming from a car guy, I do know what a 944 turbo is. But yeah, always pay cash if you can. If you do have to take a loan out, take it out from a credit union. Buy your cars, from a third party. Don't buy them from a dealership, especially in states where you have to pay sales tax on automobiles. It is a little more work that way, but man, you're just going to save. You're going to save so much money. I actually added up all the car payments that I could have made over the past 3 or 4 years since I paid off my cars, and it pretty much equaled what I have in my emergency fund. So. Yeah, so there you go, Dillman. Having a cheap car is a smart idea. I like cars, but I'd rather have money in crypto. So think about it this way. You can drive your money, or you can put your money in crypto. Yeah, see, the problem there, David, is I wouldn't have paid the $23,000. I wouldn't have paid $23,000 for a car. Typically, if you take a car loan, you go out to you go out to a dealership, and you have to deal with all that horrible stuff, and then you still end up paying over retail high prices for a car, and then they're probably going to try to sell you the warranty and all this other stuff, versus if you actually just go try to buy one for cash, you can buy a 3 or 4 year old car that I don't know exactly what car you got, David. I'm not trying to slam on you personally. You just brought up cars, and that's kind of a personal finance pet peeve of mine. But yeah, you can buy a car that's a few years old and save $6,000 or $7,000, if not more than that. But yeah, so I will admit, with my van, I did take out a loan because I didn't have the full amount, but I paid it off within 6 months. So I think as long as you can pay a car off within a year, then I think you're good. Yeah, David. So 23 being pretty reasonable. Did you get what kind of car did you buy, David? Yeah, looks. If you're making $100,000, $150,000 a year. I don't think a 23,000 car is unreasonable. I think that's reasonable. That's perfectly fine. I personally don't make that much money. So, I pretty much, I do not want to drive my salary away. What up, Jared? First time listener. So I don't think that you signed up for Car Chat, did you? New Honda Accord, very nice cars. Yeah, my Honda Accord was a 2002, cost me $3,200. Bam! And then you can put 20,000 in cryptos, David. Yeah, see, there's these arguments about how long you want to drive the car for. So think of it this way: if you take that, I'm not going to pick on David, but there's a number out there. So if you have a $23,000 car, brand new, in 10 years, that $23,000 car, let's just say it's worth like $4,000. Okay, let's say it's worth $4,000. So then you're out $19,000. In that same time, you could probably buy a car that a 10-year-old car that'll drive till 16, 17 years or so, and you're just gonna save all that money, and you'll probably be able to sell it for half of what you bought it for. So in theory, you're only paying $2,000 for a car. Anyway, blah blah blah. Would you put 20,000 in crypto? Yes. Yes, you would. If you have, look, if you make 20,000 a year, I don't know if I'd put 20,000 in crypto. But yeah, if you have 20 in cash, if you're going to pay $23,000 for something and instead you pay 3,000, and then you go ahead and put 20 into an investment of some kind, I say that's great. That's fantastic. That's how you grow your wealth. And cryptos is a strategy to do that. So me personally, I have a stock market portfolio. I have a crypto portfolio. I have portfolios of all kinds. You do want to, I hate the word diversification, but you want to have things in different asset classes. Not that they're all going to cave, but you just have different opportunities in my mind. There you go, Jared. So we had this nice pop. Any of this panned out yet? Litecoin up 10%. How's Litecoin doing? Still sitting there. Christopher, you the man. Oh, you still in that Bitcoin, Christopher? That's awesome. Good for you, buddy. How much is too much to have in crypto? Ooh, how much is too much to have in crypto? I don't think there's an answer to that. It's like how much could you have in the stock market, How much is too much to invest? It depends on your nest egg. I mean, I would put, I don't know where you live in the world, but if you're in the United States, I would definitely have a 401k. Hopefully that your employer matches, so you get that, and then I would put, I would probably max out my Roth IRA after that because you have tax implications. And then I would definitely put money into cryptos after that. Those would be my personal strategies. And actually, that's what I do. Now that I think about that, I max out my Roth IRA. I max out my match at work, and then I max out my Roth IRA every year. And then, I pretty much put the rest in cryptos personally. Neo running again, 29%. Looks like it popped a little bit here. Yeah, I have a feeling Neo's going to pause here. Doesn't look like a breakout. Looks like it's going to hit a ceiling. You see how the volume is just kind of flattening out here. So we're on 15-minute bars. There's 10 minutes left. You see how it's ticking? See how look at that. Look at the volume tick up. Look at the volume tick up, and look at the price doesn't move. That's selling. Did you see that? Did you see the volume went from here to here, and the price didn't move? That's selling. That's selling pressure. If you guys didn't catch that, rewind it. Rewind that and look at that. What just happened? So, anyway, doesn't mean that selling is, But anyway, that was just some selling. That was some selling. If you guys are talking about price action, go back, rewind it, watch this volume tick up, watch the volume tick up, and then watch the price not move. That was some selling pressure. So if you're not used to watching the actual real live charts on the right side, that's a little bit of selling pressure. Buy a house or invest in crypto? Buy a house. Buy yourself a house. You need somewhere to live. So I don't have any debt outside of my house. I have no debt outside of my house, and I like that. To be honest with you, I really like that. When I was younger in my life, I chose not to go to college. I hadn't always made the best career decisions. I took a couple of chances that didn't pan out, which I think have probably cost me $100,000 in earnings personally over the course of my job career. I've owned a couple small businesses, and now I'm in a position where I took a possible career change that isn't quite working out for me exactly how I planned. So yeah, I really like the fact that I don't have to make an exaggerated amount of money, and I can, my house is on track to be paid off in 12 years if I don't put any more to it. I got a 15-year loan on my house, and I like that feeling. So when my house is paid off, I mean, hopefully earlier with crypto money, when my house is paid off, then, dude, it's all gravy from there. So you take the stress out of your life, pay off your debt, pay off your debt, do what you can with your house, buy your cars cash, and trade with, at that point, you can trade with no fear. Does that make sense? So I know I'm talking a lot about debt, but in the end, this comes back to trading, because you're going to trade with no fear if you have no debt. Okay, if you have no debt and your house is in good position, you can trade without fear. Now, you can lose money and do really crappy at it, do really horrible at trading and lose your stake, but you're going to feel bad and catch crap from your spouse, but it's not going to be detrimental to your personal finances. People ought to know, if I overnight into cryptos, basically more than what you can afford to lose is too much. You will not be happy. You probably won't sleep well. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about with your debt too. Because this is a 24/7 market, you need to, so this is tough, right? Okay, when we're in a choppy market, like we've been in a choppy market, right? We've been in a choppy market. It's been going up and down and sideways, huge swings. It's really hard to hold overnight positions right now. But when you're in an uptrend, when you're in a bullish market, I have no problem holding overnight positions. When it comes to taxes, would you claim crypto money as capital gains if you take all your money out? So capital gains is a classification, at least in the United States, where you typically, from my knowledge, there's a couple of things that have to happen for you to consider it a capital gain. I think one of them is you have to hold your position over 12 months, I believe. So unless you're never going fiat within your trades, that's going to be nearly impossible. Unless you're a hodler, but that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, anytime you sell into fiat in the United States, you're going to have to go ahead and claim it on your taxes. That's just an unfortunate, it really sucks because it's, at least for me, there's so many trades, and at the end of the year, I remember my first few years in the stock market before I knew what I was doing, I had like 20 sheets of trades, and it was just a lot to keep up with. When will I be convinced that we're back in a bull market? What signal are you waiting for to buy with your main account? So I'm waiting for something that feels good, to be honest with you, at least for me. Like I kind of get these feelings, and I try to extrapolate it into something that's quantifiable for you guys. But me personally, like I said, yesterday I started feeling pretty bullish after here we go. Okay, so like I said, if this can break out of here with some pretty good defining volume, I'm going to be all in, and I may be all in either way. It just kind of depends. But here we're seeing a little bit of selling. Trung, let's talk relationships. You're on it, buddy. You're on it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, in the end, Trung, in the end, all of this comes back to trading. To be quite honest with you, it all comes back to trading. If you're in a good look, think about it this way: if you're in North Korea, okay, and you have to look over your shoulder at every turn for everything you do, is that a good trading environment? That is not a good trading environment. You're just going to make horribly shitty trades because you have no idea if you're going to eat the next day, depending on your position. In the same way, just like if you have a ton of debt hanging over your head, trading is going to be difficult because in the back of your mind, you're like, man, okay, I just put $5,000 in cryptos. I need this to pay this to pay this. The second you need money in any investment account, you're at a disadvantage. You're just at a disadvantage. Frederick, yes, it can break when I'm sleeping again. Yes, it can. So the only thing I can do there is put a stop loss in place. I would like to see certain price action, Frederick, but I'm not seeing exactly what I would like to see, so I'm dealing with the hand that I'm dealt here. I'm dealing with the hand that I'm dealt here. You know, this is real life, reality YouTube TV, or whatever you want to call it. So I really like the fact that we have this nice volume pop. I really like the fact that we're just inching higher here, and the fact that the volume isn't flattening out. The volume is actually accelerating a little bit, is good. And from what we just saw on the minute chart, hey, that looks good. So these selling bars are more muted than the buying bars. We're seeing some good buying here on the right side of this chart here. So it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. Yep, Kibichi's right. You can set an alert. You can set an actual physical stop loss if you want to. You can set that as well. But if you put a stop loss, that's going to go to the open market, and it can always get hit. You know, there's a risk. You have to. There's a risk to these markets, and you have to verify the risk with the reward. All right, Verge. Sure, we can look at Verge. On the minute chart, let's not look at Verge on the minute chart. Did we just look at Verge a little bit ago? I think we just looked at Verge. So, oh yeah. Nothing great here. I don't see a lot of, I mean, it's just a lot of choppiness, kind of a wide range, not a lot of really good things happening here. We did reverse and have a higher low, so that is good. Yeah. GDAX keeps rejecting you and you don't know why. James, if you're new to the GDAX, the way you're actually going to be able to place an order here, I just happen to have it basically open. So let's go ahead and let's show you what a good order in the GDAX looks like. You can actually place it for free. So you have to go to limit first of all. You're going to buy. I'm going to buy. You have to buy below to make the market. Okay. So you have to click on one of these or enter your own. Then you can click on how much you want to buy. So let's just do like 0.01 Ethereum. Okay. And I'm going if I so here if I do this right here and I go to sell, it's going to reject me. Oh, well, can't sell Ethereum I don't have. There we go. So I can't buy at 83 and then keep a free order. If you do post and good till canceled and all that stuff, a post limit order you can set for free. So you have to set it in the red. You can't be at the market or in the green. If you're looking to buy, you have to be in the red. If you're looking to sell, you have to be in the green. You can't be at the market right here. Oh, he's talking about withdrawing money from GDAX into Coinbase? Yeah, that's different. Sorry, misunderstood that. I just happened to know I had my GDAX open, so thought I'd try to help you out. Reached 100 watchers low. Oh, look at that. 101. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the relationship advice and all the other, car advice you like here at Real Crypto, please subscribe. So there's my plug for my life coaching channel. Guys, we turned into a life coaching channel. Frederick, do you have any input on that? Any input on life coaching? Yeah, you can do some verification with Coinbase too that will allow you to have larger withdrawal limits per day. So you can go through some verification process as well. What do you think about WTC? Isn't that a oh, it's Walton coin. Yeah, I don't get. Maybe I can get it over here on Coiniggy. Coiniggy, like Carnegie, but Coiniggy. Anyway, let's look at WTC. What? How do I seriously have Bitfinex WTC? Really, no Walton anywhere on Coinage. That's ridiculous. Concerned about having to report all my Ethereum Bitcoin trades, not to fiat, but still, I expect GDEX Coinbase will report trades to the IRS. So they will record closed. Yeah, I'm not sure on this. I haven't actually looked at this yet, but typically how it works is they will report closed positions. So let's say you put in $1,000 and then you go ahead and make a million trades that equals out to $1 million in closed positions. They will report you made $1 million to the IRS. They will report that your account closed out $1 million in trades. It is then your responsibility to show what your buys were. Show, have you already gone through this? I have yet to go through an IRS cycle with trading cryptos. All right, while we're talking about that, I'm going to look at stocks. Doesn't look like much has happened. EOG, I was looking at CFG. There you are. Not too crazy. All right, that's enough stocks for the day. Okay, so let's see what the big dogs are doing. Still haven't broken out like that. Still haven't quite broken out. Bitcoin looks like it sold off, testing up into its high. Low volume though, so not too bad. Not too bad. Ethereum. Was anyone able to catch what I was talking about regarding the selling? Did anyone take a look at that when I said to rewind the video about watching NEO being sold into at that exact moment in time? Did you guys see that? Right on this prior bar here. So that's the kind of action you don't want to see when you want to take a position. That's the kind of action that you see at tops. I'm not saying it's not going higher from here, but that was a lot of selling right there. Stocks are not boring. Stocks allow you to sleep. Stocks allow you to sleep. Cryptos are a detriment to my my baggy eyes. Yeah, underneath my eyeballs, the bags under my eyes really like cryptocurrencies because they just make me sleep 5 hours a night. It's insane. Yeah, NEO's the winner of the day though, guys. Like, NEO is the winner today. By far. It's like P-Toy had a little something happening. Good volume in Patientary. Good volume here in Patientary token. But we're kind of testing these highs, so selling off is pretty normal. Yeah, still drifting higher in Patientary. I think this is going to be one of those tokens that's going to surprise you one day. And it's just, you know, you're never going to see it on the top 10 appreciation list, but at the same time, it's going to be worth like 50-fold what it is if it actually gets going. KNC. Someone put an exclamation point behind it, so it must be doing something. Underwater and NEO for ages, Dillman. Sorry about that, buddy. Well, you now have a point to hold on, so you now have a reason to hold on. Did I miss the Facebook crash today? I did. I actually don't trade Facebook. Let's go see what happened. 5%. What was that about? Did all the iPhones like stop using Facebook or something? It's actually funny. I went mostly cash in my account today. I think I have 15% positions in the market at this particular point in time. What platform do you prefer? I use Coinage. I use Coinage as well, although I do really like their alerts and stuff, but I do find that TradingView itself, number one, I haven't actually fully set up my Coinage platform. I do need to take time and do that, but I have a hard time. It looks like between sessions and even between windows, the styling goes away because I don't like this gradient around the average volume here. And I'll change this and I've done this a million times so far. I've done that I don't know how many times, and it always pops back to the default when I go to another screen or something like that. So I do find that a little bit annoying. Day job, I'm the director of operations at a web development agency. Or I should say software application development agency. We don't just do web. The platform that I took a look at Facebook stock. If you trade stocks and you don't know about Thinkorswim, Thinkorswim is really good. Have I seen gold and silver rising? No, I have not. I do not look at commodities. It's a, I don't know. I don't like commodities. I don't know why. Maybe because they have different margin requirements and I have to jump through a couple of hoops and then I got to deal with, I don't know, but they do tend to trade really well. They tend to trade extraordinarily well. I know there are fantastic opportunities. When silver ran a few years back, me and a couple buddies of mine were on that. I got a buddy that is kind of a gold bug, and he's been starting to buy the miners again. This is Thinkorswim platform. You get this through TD Ameritrade. Thinkorswim. A tech analysis on Apple on the weekly. It has a nice pattern. Sure, why not? For just charting, I do prefer TradingView over Coinigy for just charting. I never did subscribe to TradingView. I never did their subscription. I actually like the Coinigy interface a little bit better. But for just charting and able to have a list like this, I do like TradingView better. Well, first full trading day. Yeah, Christopher, I don't trade ICOs. You can't trade ICOs or IPOs on the day. It's really volatile. You have to be a very good day trader to do that. Very good. Watch Tasty Trade? No, I do not. Is that a YouTube guy? Someone mentioned Apple Weekly. I would love to do an Apple Weekly chart synopsis. Let's check it out. Since I know everyone here loves the stock market, no, I'm just joking. But hey, charting is charting, right? So that's weekly. Apparently my weekly doesn't go back very far. That does not look good. Oh, there we go. What just happened? So what do you want me to look at on Apple on the weekly here? Looks pretty toppy. Looks pretty toppy. We had a cup with handle right here, which we broke out of, and we just failed back into that cup with handle. So definitely toppy action. Definitely topping. YouTube show, no sir. Oh really? They invented Thinkorswim. Tasty Trade. I'll check that out then. And Ethereum backing away from our trend line. Looky, looky, looky. It's not much. Could turn around at any time. Oh, that doesn't look good. This is why you wait for it to cross the trend line. Otherwise, this is what would happen if I bought here. If I buy here and then it does this, I'll end up selling down here, then it'll go up again. That's just how life works. You know, that's just how life works. That's just how life works. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. We're hour and a half on the live stream. This was supposed to be like a half hour. So, appreciate everybody watching. If you're not subscribing to the channel, please do. I'd appreciate your patronage. Also, go ahead and, if you're not familiar with YouTube, they have the alerts button. Click that if you want to be indicated of live streams and the videos that I put out. And yeah, that's about it, guys. I'm going to get out of here, get some work done today. Got a few things to do. And I'll be back here with a daily video probably in a couple of hours, kind of talking about the market reversing, things of that nature. And yeah, we'll just kind of go from there. So any last minute questions before we head out? Any questions? I'll wait for a few questions, guys. Dillman, you're welcome, buddy. Good seeing you here. It's always fun when I see you on the stream. How much percentage of account to risk at this time? If you're iffy, Frederick, just go with like 30 to 50%. If you see a bunch of opportunities, just go ahead and put like 20% here, 20% there, 20% there, something like that. So, all right, guys, have a good day. I will see